rhythm on the floor again. Been together so long we can't pretend. Remember the way we used to move, dance all night like young lovers do. Your heart is changing. Now we don't dance like we used to. Silent disco on the floor, baby. Mr. DJ, he'll get me through. When the beat's gone, you can't save me, baby. Smoke.
This is Broad Radio. For you, by you. Broad Radio. Here for more.
Good morning and welcome to Broad Radio. I'm Jo Stanley and my co-host this morning is the delightful Angela Pippos. Hi there, Ange.
Hi, Jo.
It's lovely
How's
to
lockdown
see
treating you?
Wow, isn't that funny? Like here we are. A little insight. You and I live maybe a 5-minute drive from each other. So we're within our own sort of 10Ks in the Melbourne lockdown, but we're not allowed to actually be in the same room together. So good thing that this is how we do Broad Radio.
I feel more connected to the world because of Broad Radio. Otherwise, I'd just be a little old lady in the house just waiting to be allowed out.
It's a sad state of affairs, but we push on and we are thinking of you if you are struggling in lockdown at the moment, and we're really pleased that you've joined us today. Today on the show, one of Australia's favourite comedians, Kitty Flanagan, is joining us. I'm super excited to have her. We're talking period poverty and what we can do to help women and trans men who are experiencing homelessness with Donna Stotzenberg, who is the founder and CEO of the National Homeless Collective, and Masterchef Judge Andy Allen joins us as well. That's all coming up after this. Broad Radio is proudly supported by Chemist Warehouse. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It really makes a massive difference to us. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, it'd be great if you liked and followed us. If you are wanting to catch up on any of the episodes that we've done, and there's 22 of them, you can subscribe to our podcast, Broad Radio on the Go, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, we love it when you join the conversation. So if you're watching or listening, make sure you share your thoughts as we're going along throughout the next hour. We'd love to hear from you. And a great way of doing that is to join our More to Say poll. We do this every week. It's one question. And our question this week, Ange, maybe this is more a Melbourne thing, although it is going to be, we've got like an icy cold snap going for the whole of the eastern seaboard in Australia. So our question for our More to Say poll this week is, what's your comfort food vibe? We've got salty treats, sweet tooth vibes, Sunday roast, yes please, clean eating, why? Where's the comfort there? Or childhood throwbacks. Where would you go, Ange?
I'm into the salty treats, I think. Yeah. I mean, I prefer a big meal, but not necessarily a roast. More, I don't know, a curry or a pasta dish, something with a bit of spice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something
Puttanesca.
warm. Puttanesca. You love your puttanesca. Isn't that what you did
I
all
do.
of lockdown last year? You made,
And all of this one.
just made, I imagine you with a giant soup, like one of those massive, you know, kind of like in Oliver with the gruel, just like this, with your puttanesca. Is that what you like?
I mean, I'm really lucky that both of the men in this house, or the one man, one boy, they love olives, they love anchovies, they love salty flavours. So, you know, we all get on well because we like the same kind of food. You might have trouble with the puttanesca because I know you're not wild about anchovies.
I'm not wild about anchovies and I can't cook. So,
Right.
Terrible, terrible, terrible cook. I do cook and I loathe it. So anyway, if you want to join our More to Say poll, you go in the running to win a beautiful beanie from the Hook Designs, which are just the toastiest, warmest, beautiful beanies for the cold snap that's coming in. And they're handmade, beautifully hand crocheted, no less. So just head along to broadradio.com.au and enter that particular. We've got Andy Allen coming up from Masterchef later in the show, so I'm going to have to confess to him that I can't cook. I feel quite embarrassed by that. Hey, so what a lot of people have been doing in this last lockdown in Melbourne, but certainly worldwide, has been watching Kate Winslet's incredible performance in The Mayor of Easttown. I know you have loved this, Ange.
Oh, absolutely loved it. I mean, I've got a real thing for women detectives in crime drama anyway, which dates back to the Danish series The Killing, and Sarah Lund was the character, and I loved her. And I love these women protagonists because they're always busting stereotypes about womanhood, about being a mum, and they're always smarter than all, than all the men around them. They have these great instincts when it comes to solving crime. So that I do enjoy that. And yeah, Kate Winslet's performance in Mayor of Easttown, or as we call it, Mayor of Lockdown, is outstanding. She's fantastic. And again, she's busting stereotypes. I mean, she vapes, she's got the flannel shirt, she's a bit grumpy.
What about what she eats? Oh my God.
She eats really
shovels
bad
long,
food.
like long foot subs into her mouth. I just love it.
I know. But isn't she compelling? You know, even just her facial expressions, even when she hasn't got lines to deliver, she is still so compelling. It's great. We can't give it away, though. It's a hard conversation to have because there are a couple of twists.
Yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns in there, so we will not spoiler alert this, but there's been so much talk around her face and the fact that, well, two things. One, she refused to let them airbrush the images of the poster, and also there was a bit of talk around her having a scene with Guy Pearce, which was very sexy. Loved that scene, where there was a little bit of tummy and she refused to let the editor take out the tummy bit, which, to be honest, I'd read that and then saw the scene and I was like, is that it? Like, I wanted to see real woman gut.
Yes.
I was sad.
Jiggling around.
I did. But what do you think about all this talk around her and her natural face, Ange?
Well, so she gave this interview to the New York Times and she made those comments about the airbrushing and the director saying to her, hey, we can sort out that scene with your bulgy belly if you like. And she said, no, let's keep it in. Look, I've had this conversation with a number of friends and people are very quick to say, well, it's easy for Kate Winslet to be so bold and to make these comments because she's got loads of money. She doesn't have to worry about her job security and she has great connections in Hollywood. So she can be bold and brave and say this kind of stuff. I just think that's selling it short because the power of those words, we just cannot underestimate the power of those words. In Australia, there's a survey done every year by Mission Australia, and they survey 15 to 19-year-olds, boys and girls. And every year, one of the questions is, what are your top 3 concerns? And every year, body image is in the top 3. It's in there with mental health, and it's in there with coping with stress. And all these 3 are interrelated. But kids and women and men are starving themselves to fit a particular type of body shape. And, we're all bombarded with these images of what womanhood should look like and femininity should be like. And, it's very difficult to navigate your way through it. So to have someone like Kate Winslet come out and say, this is who I am, this is my face, this is my stomach, deal with it. I mean, it's important. It matters. These words matter.
I 100% agree. And I think too, that's also selling short how critical it is for her in her industry and her particular career to look a certain way. And the pressure, even how that might have poisoned her. And I'm sort of thinking about all the talk around Nicole Kidman's face when she did The Undoing, because she seems to have had a lot of work done on her face. And then we're talking about Kate Winslet's face because she hasn't had work and she's allowed to be natural. And I'm like, could we just stop talking about women's faces? Could we just actually talk about the work that they do and, you know, their incredible performance and their talent and you know, the amount, I mean, even just knowing the research that Kate, and I know that, you know, Nicole Kidman's an extraordinary performer as well. Let's not talk about the way they look anymore. I'm so bored of that.
Yep. But Chima, look, it is important in that, you know, Kate Winslet said faces change. And what we have to do as a society is learn to love older faces and stop covering up with Photoshops and all that stuff, you know. We have to, it's very sad to reach this point where you have to learn to love an older face. I mean, faces change. It's just the reality of the situation.
And my question to you around that, though, is do you love your own aging face? Because it starts with us accepting the way we look in the mirror and going, actually, I love that I got jowls.
Yep.
I love that my eyelids are sinking into my eyes. You know, like, but I haven't got to that. Have you got to that?
Well, not 100%, no. And that is hard. And I think the other difficult thing is, and I've been reading a lot about this, and there was a great piece done in The Guardian, that I don't colour my hair for the male gaze. You know, that's not the reason why I do it. I do it for my career because sadly, you and I do broad radio, but we also do television. Where are the women on television with grey hair?
Yeah.
There are loads of men with grey hair, and we're told how distinguished they look. You know, the male newsreader who can be 105 not out and still sitting at the chair with grey hair or no hair and doing it. But where are the women? So that's where I feel the pressure. It's not that I'm trying to, you know, appeal to anyone else. I just want to be, you know, to have a vibrant career, and I don't want my career to end. So that's where I find the pressure comes.
And that's where I thought that it was very cruel when people were judging Nicole Kidman, because I'm like, you have no idea the pressure that she may have felt over the last 20 years to maintain a certain look, because she wants to keep working and she wants great roles. Like that's a totally fair enough thing. And you know what? Do whatever you want to your face. Who cares? It's your own face.
Well, that's right. That's right. It's a personal choice. It's not. I'm not going to judge anyone for what they do with it, but I just would like to think that as you get older, you know, you're still seen as, you know, someone who can contribute to the industry. And of course you can. You've got runs on the board. You've got wisdom and all these things that the industry could do with. You know, a little bit of grey hair really shouldn't be a problem.
Yes. Now I just don't know if you noticed there that our next guest has dropped out there. She's sent us a little message that she's reconnecting, and whilst we're waiting for Kitty to do that, I just wanted to mention though, Ange, that of course now Kate Winslet has been named the next face of L'Oreal. So I wonder if they've chosen her because she has been so outspoken about her face and, you know, accepting everything that she is as a 40-something-year-old woman. And then the next question is that actually an untouched photo?
Well, it's hard to tell, isn't it, looking at it? She looks fantastic. And I think she's a good choice as well as the brand ambassador. And that's because of what she says. And I don't know if she's contradicting herself and that has been, photoshopped or whatever. But I think it's the power of her words again. It's about saying, look, you know, this is who I am. Treat me as a serious human being. Because you're right, so much of the conversation is always about the way a woman looks. It's like women athletes. You know, it's not good enough that they're strong and fast and fit and fabulous and the best at their game. They also have to look good to get the sponsorship, to continue being athletes. I mean, it's never enough.
It's madness to me.
It's infuriating.
Yeah. You know what? We are going to keep trying to get Kitty back on the line, but what we're really lucky is that we have one of our other guests waiting for us, and we were very excited to be speaking with her. So I reckon we'll just, she's waiting patiently in the wings. So will we do a quick little bumper and then we'll introduce Donna? Yeah, let's do that. Well, and when we launched earlier this year, we launched with a charity partner, Women's Housing Limited, and we chose to do that because women are the fastest growing group facing homelessness in Australia, and we still continue to work with Women's Housing Limited, who are doing incredible things. But we thought that this was a really great opportunity to speak specifically about the experience of homelessness when it comes to managing periods and period poverty for women and trans men. So we're really thrilled to welcome to the show Donna Stotzenberg, who is the founder and CEO of National Homeless Collective. Thanks for standing by there, Donna.
Oh, thanks for having me. I've enjoyed watching all of this. It's been great.
Donna, that is a really sad statistic that there's this incredible growing group of women who are facing homelessness. Why is that?
Look, there are a lot of reasons why women are facing homelessness, and the fastest growing cohort at the moment is middle-aged women. There are so many factors that happened, that sort of started 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that we didn't take care of. Things like women not, the gender parity, women not having enough superannuation, women more likely being carers and part-time workers who now can't afford a place of their own because of the housing affordability crisis. They've been locked out. So those women are now just tumbling into homelessness at such an incredibly fast rate. The entire, and so much of what you and Ange were talking about before, Joe, really speaks to the reason that we still have period poverty. And largely that's because we don't have women at the table when it comes to disaster recovery and social issues. So I think it was when the Melbourne Period Project started back in 2015 was the very first time that the words menstruation and tampon had ever been said in Victorian Parliament, like in the history of forever. And that's only because we were introduced to Parliament by Fiona Patten. And we are only just getting our seat at the table now as far as our own care and concern with how female homelessness is managed.
And Donna, there are a lot of misconceptions about homelessness, and one of them being that it's just people that you see on the streets, which it's broader than that, isn't it? Do we have an idea of how many people are homeless in Australia and what percentage of women?
It depends on state to state. What we know is that there is at least about 120,000 people experiencing homelessness. Our previous census never had a ticker box, are you homeless? It was sort of decided by deduction of other factors that people weren't putting where they lived, and that's how we figured out that people were experiencing homelessness. We know that in Victoria there are around 25,000 people experiencing homelessness back in the 2016 census, and we know that has grown by at least about 12%. And in across Australia, it's about 55% male, 45% female. The main cause of homelessness for women is domestic violence, domestic abuse, and housing affordability. When it comes to rough sleeping, I think about 75% are male and 25% are female. So depending on which factors you're actually looking at, rough sleeping, overcrowded dwellings, if a person is, if you're looking statewide, or when we look by nationality, our First Nations people are really overrepresented in homelessness statistics by, I think they make up about 17% of homelessness, but only about 3% of the general population. So there's a huge overrepresentation there as well.
But when you're talking about women who are experiencing homelessness, their challenges are significantly, I suppose, higher than perhaps their male cohorts because, firstly, I'm assuming that it's a situation of feeling unsafe a lot of the time. And of course, there's the dignity or lack of when it comes to managing your periods.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the biological process of menstruation is something that can't be stopped or started unless it's chemically changed. So when you're experiencing homelessness and your period starts, you can't just stop it. It's really funny how many men actually thought that you could just hang on to it, like if you're wanting to go to the bathroom.
What?
And oh yeah, it was really it surprised me. But a lot of no, it's true. A lot of men, well, we'll just hang on. You just wait till you go to the bathroom. We're kind of realizing, there's clenching, but you can't clench that much. Look, women are more vulnerable as far as assault and sexual assault goes as well. So they are much more likely to be assaulted on the street if they're out there on their own. It's very hard to find shelter and protection on the street. Often, not always, but often there is mental health issues involved as well. And unfortunately, when it comes to sexual assault on the street, women often are not considered credible witnesses to their own rape cases because they have experienced mental health. So it really does open up it's a horrible, horrible situation for women out there. And when it comes to menstruation, I mean, the reason the Period Project started all those years ago was I was actually delivering sleeping bags to people on the street. And there was a lady sitting outside Flinders Street Station, and she very discreetly sort of asked me, she was like, asked me if I had some tampons that I could give her, and I didn't have any. We were there to deliver sleeping bags, and she told me that she was literally sitting there having her period and bleeding, and she couldn't move off the ground. So I asked her what she wanted and went over the road and bought some tampons for her, bought them back, and as soon as I handed them to her, she just burst into tears and said that she had a visit with her children the next day. They were in foster care. And her only choice at that point was either to steal the tampons or steal money to get the tampons or ask a stranger. So thankfully, she chose the last option. And she asked me, and I asked her, was there any programs or support for women experiencing homelessness and for menstrual poverty? And she said no, none that she knew of. And when I investigated, there was nothing. I was absolutely appalled. So we started the Period Project, which now runs nationwide, and we help thousands and thousands of women and trans men each year, and non-binary as well, people.
And Donna, this would mean that for a number of women, they're forced to choose between food or sanitary products, an awful position to be in. And if they choose food, they're using less hygienic ways to deal with their period. And that just creates more problems, doesn't it, for them?
It really does. And period poverty extends beyond homelessness as well. There are a lot of people who are living with a roof over their head, not that we'd call it stable housing or security of tenure, who also aren't able to afford basic sanitary items. And what they're forced to do to manage their period is just horrific. We've heard of women reusing pads and tampons, washing them out and squeezing them, trying to squeeze them dry and reusing them, some women have gone to laundromats to try and find a sock that might be left in a dryer. Some women have used leaves or other articles of clothing that they've had to put in their underwear, or resort to stealing products and or asking strangers. They're just using products that are just really not designed for menstrual management at all. And one of the cruel aspects about that too is that women are often forced to manage their period outside of their cultural norms as well. If they can't choose the products that they prefer to use, then they're forced to manage it in ways that conflicts with their culture, and that also causes ongoing psychological effects as well. It's awful.
It is really awful, and I think something that's not spoken enough about. Donna, how important is it for you that this is also about breaking the stigma around, firstly, homelessness, but also conversations around managing periods?
Well, one of the reasons, Joe, that we put the word period into our name was so people would be forced to say it. And we got so much backlash from that. Like, why can't you call it ladies' things or that time of the month or, you know, things like that. And we're like, no, damn you will say period. We're going to normalize that word. And we got in trouble for not calling it the Menstruation Project after that, so we couldn't win. But we just thought, you know, period is the common term that people use. We're trying to break down the stigma. And a lot of the time, a lot of the stigma is actually perceived and not real. And that's one of the things that we found really interesting. We think that men from the older generations we automatically think that they're shy about periods and that, you know, it's an uncomfortable conversation. And I've actually found them to be the most receptive to supporting period poverty and making sure that women and girls are okay. I remember talking at a Lions Club one day about the Period Project, and it was, I think the average age would have been about 85, and all these retired men sitting there, and I'm talking about menstruation and pads and periods, and this man just jumps up out of his seat and slaps the table and is like, "This is terrible. This is awful." And I thought, oh no, here we go, I'm in trouble. And he goes, "There are women out there bleeding and they haven't got anything to use for it. This is terrible. We must help them." And that's when I was really had my eyes open to the fact that we think they're squeamish, but generally they're not. And I found, because this was early on in the days with the Period Project, and then I found as time went on that the men that we spoke to really wanted to be a part of that conversation. They wanted to join in. They've got wives, they've experienced menstruation in the marital bed, they've got daughters, granddaughters, and they want to make sure that they're okay as well. So it's important that we don't assume that men should be excluded from this conversation because they don't have a uterus, especially given when we look at disaster recovery and decision making, there are not enough women at the table. So we have to include the men in the conversation and demand that things like period poverty are eradicated. There's some very exciting work coming out from Melbourne City Council soon with a trial for free sanitary items in 6 of the Melbourne City Council buildings. So we've been going for 6 years, and, you know, that's a start. We got rid of the GST on tampons because they were considered a luxury, which was hilarious. Yeah. But I love having my period. It's great. It's such a luxury. It's wonderful.
Oh, such a luxury. Donna, I did see that the City of Melbourne is now providing free sanitary products in certain facilities in their municipality, and I hope that kind of stuff, I think it's happening more and more around the country. But we also can contribute. It's only $5 to make and distribute one period pack, and you can head along to nhcollective.org.au to donate, and you can actually commit to donating every month. And I like that idea. You know, we get our period every month and we can contribute maybe $20 every month. That's going to go and support the women who are facing homelessness, who need some support with their periods as well. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, it's kind of like sponsor a sister. Or a brother in the case of trans men, but each time you get your period, if you donate, we get some donations in from the public with pads and tampons, and we work with an incredible organisation called Giftbox Organic, and that's a +1 subscription. And so even though the value of the period packs that we give out is higher than $5, with the donations that we get in, it costs an average of about $5. And we put things in there so that people sleeping rough can manage their period as well. So we have wipes in there, we have liners for people who can't change their underwear or do their washing, we have disposable bags so that the used product isn't thrown away or, you know, doesn't dirty the person's other belongings. So everything, it's like if you went camping without a toilet and you got your period, that's how we have looked at menstrual management as far for people on the street. So there's a whole lot that goes into those packs, and we're not government sponsored, we're not government supported at all. So we do rely on the public to support us to help people. And unfortunately, we find that every year the amount of sanitary items we need to pass on to people is growing more and more and more. In fact, Women's Housing Limited was the very first organisation that we supported 6 years ago. They got in touch with us and they were like, "We're desperate. We need some sanitary items." And from there, we've now grown to, I think there's over 60 organisations in Melbourne alone that we support, and we have 7 other projects as well. So if you head on to the NH Collective page, and I'm going to give our raffle a plug because we have a raffle for an awesome holiday at the moment. It's being donated to us. There's 2 holidays. One's an amazing fishing trip for 2, and the other one is a trip to Orpheus Island, a luxury holiday. They've both been donated to us. They're being raffled off. So 100% of a ticket sale goes to, like, if you buy one ticket, you support 5 women. So we really need people to do that. That would be awesome.
Oh, Donna, thank you so much for joining us on Broad Radio today. And of course, we encourage everybody to head along to nhcollective.org.au. Thank you so much for all the amazing work that you do, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful to chat.
Yeah, great. And I believe Kitty Flanagan is back, so she'll be joining us after this. Oh, well, let's not waste time introducing her. We all know how amazing she is and we all love her dearly. So we are hoping that Kitty is there. Oh, maybe we've lost her. Poor Kitty. I feel like I'm shaming her internet. It's not her fault. There she is. Hi there, Kitty.
Oh, yay.
Can you see and hear us?
I felt like what Donna had to say was far more important than anything I could say. So I thought, let's put her up front. I'm disconnecting. Disconnecting.
Yeah.
Let's put Donna on first because that's really important. Whereas I've got nothing important to say.
Well, that's not true.
But
Kitty.
I will be donating. That's a fantastic cause. I really enjoyed listening to what she had to say.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah. It's only $5 for one pack, and the difference that you would.
And extraordinary that it's not government. I thought for sure. Well, that's supported by the government. Why wouldn't you? But no. So all right, I'll get on board.
Nice. Kitty, lovely to have you on Broad Radio. Congratulations on your latest venture, which is your very funny series, Fisk, on the ABC. I really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a ripper.
Oh, I'm so glad you liked it.
I don't know, did you hear the conversation we were having earlier about Kate Winslet and the changing of the posters and all that sort of stuff? Do you escape conversations like that when you're a comedian?
Well, a few things. Like, first of all, yes, I had to control what sort of photo went on the poster for Fisk, but not because I wanted my face changed, but because I just wanted to make sure they didn't use any wacky photos. Because when people do publicity for comedy, they always want to use a wacky photo. And it's my fault. I know better. But during the photo shoot, you're there, you're being sensible, and you just go for so long, and then you do one stupid thing and you go, oh no, that's the one they're going to use.
Yeah, don't stick your tongue out. Never stick your tongue out in a photo shoot.
What am I doing?
Yes.
Yeah. I learned that so early in the game when I did a photo shoot really, really early on with my sister, and they got a photo shoot of us making scones. We used to make scones every Thursday. We lived together. And we were making scones, and I picked up 2 scones, put them on my eyes, and my sister turned around and went, well, there's the photo. We may as well not do any more. And sure enough, there I was in Who Weekly with 2 scones on my eyes. What an idiot. What an idiot. But as far as, sex scenes, firstly, there will never be any in Fisk. I can guarantee that for you. I don't even need to see sex scenes on any. I just don't need to see them. Like, if they walk into the bedroom and shut the door, I'll just imagine what they're doing. I feel like my imagination is much better than any. I don't want to see people doing it. I don't care what they look like, but I don't want to see anyone doing it. And I certainly could never do it myself. Imagine trying to do a sex scene and the director comes over and goes, sorry, what are you doing? And it's like, oh, I thought I was doing sex. Is this not it? And you find out that for all these years, you've been doing it wrong. I would never put myself in that position. I couldn't do it.
Oh, jeez.
Having a coach standing in the corner going, no, just up a bit, higher, harder, faster. So I was like, no, not for me. So yeah, feel free to watch Fisk with your children. There will be no sex scenes.
Yeah. I loved Fisk, and it came after Utopia when you were the PR woman. So you've done PR woman beautifully, I might say, and then you've gone into the lawyer. What occupation would you like to sort of sink your teeth into next? Who would you like to honour?
I think that's probably it for me. I've got 2 characters, one with straight hair, one with curly hair. So I'm done really. I could do now. That's the extent of my acting skills. Well, I'd like to do more Fisk. I don't think we're finished with Helen the lawyer yet. So I'll hopefully get to do another series of that, and then I can. I don't know. Then I think I'm done. Really, it's taken me a long time. Taken me a long time to get my head on the television, and that's why there's a part of me that also goes, it's really hard. If you have to wait, I've been writing things since I was, and I can tell you the exact age. Since 33, I've been trying to get a show up on TV because I remember, everything I write, it always starts with, Helen, 33, blah, blah, blah. And then then it becomes, now I'm pitching Helen, 35. Now it's Helen, late 30s. Now into Helen, early 40s. Now it's Helen, late 40s. Jesus Christ, when am I getting on the television? So I sort of get it, if you want to kind of go, I should have been on TV at 33. Did we have to wait 20 years? And now you have to look at my 53-year-old head. It's sort of, I don't know. I do understand when people get a bit vain about it, because you are being scrutinised by everybody, and it's all very well for women to sit around and go, you should just show your real face. But who is it but women who ring up and go, Sandra Sully looks terrible tonight. Where did she get those earrings? Why is she wearing that top? It's never the men who write in and say, I don't like the top she's wearing. I don't like the earrings. So I think, the sisterhood is a little bit two-faced on that whole thing.
Well, it can be highly
excuse
critical.
the pun there.
Well, that's because we're kind of critical of ourselves as well.
Absolutely. And I discovered very late in the piece, fortunately, that they can do something quite magical in the actual edit. Like, they can make your face look a bit nicer in the edit. They can. I thought they could only do it with still pictures, but they can get a magic pen out and they can, if you've got the money to do it in the budget.
The ABC does not have that money.
We didn't have a lot of money in the budget for that sort of thing, so it could only happen if I was sitting really still. But I had really bad acne as a kid, so I'm very sensitive about acne scars on my cheeks. And usually we had a fantastic lighting person, a fantastic DOP, and they kind of work around that kind of thing. But there were a couple of shots where I did look at it and I said to the lovely Dee, who was our person in charge of the grading, I said, "Can you do something about that?" And she went, "Yeah, I can put a bit of a magic pen over that." And I said, just soften it a bit. They can't delete it, but they can just soften it a bit. And I said, "Look, I won't ask all the time." I said, "But just that one particular shot, it was very close." I said, I wouldn't usually let the camera come that close." And she said, "That's fine." She said, "It's your television show. You can do what you want." I said, "Thanks very much, Dee. That's very kind of you." Otherwise, sometimes it can become distracting. I think people just go, "Oh, she got acne scars," and start peering at the television. So,
yeah,
I only did it once or twice. I did it once or twice, and the ABC also asked for one. Did they? Her face looks weird in that shot. Can you do something about it?
But it was worth the wait to see you acting, and it's just been fantastic. So you're a writer, director, actress, stand-up comedian. What is there left to do? I mean, you've covered sort of the arts fairly comprehensively, but your books are good too. We loved reading, your most recent book, and it gave us some good tips, didn't it, about how to navigate our way through life.
That's it. I was going to hold it up, but there it is on the screen.
It is.
I've got a real copy as well.
You did the launch for me, Jo. You did a great thing for me at the festival. We had a chat about that.
That was one of my greatest joys, being on stage with you talking about your writing, Kitty. And I'm not just saying that because you're on Broad Radio, but you bring all of these rules for life, and some of them are just so spot on, particularly the ones that you write around movie makers, and we're talking about a lot about this today. Directly to movie makers, no one has sex on the kitchen floor. Couldn't be more accurate. Women wash themselves to get clean, not to get off.
I'm so sick of seeing this scene in a shower when they wash themselves like this. Oh, so languid. And then they just, no one's ever giving it a bit of this. Come on. Wash your bits, ladies. And no one ever puts a shower cap on in a movie either. When do you ever see someone put a shower cap on?
But they always have wet hair.
That's true.
Don't they? In movies.
My shower cap is my favourite thing. I mean, I guess that's because I got curly hair and moisture's your enemy. But I can't shower without a shower cap. It's like those stupid things they put, those showers they have where it's just a thing that comes out of the ceiling.
Yes.
Every woman hates those, surely.
Yeah, because
you're both looking at me now like you've got those fancy pants.
No, I get it. Because you don't always want to wash your hair, so you
don't
want to be able to
wet your hair.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Oh, I'm a big fan of the shower cap. I absolutely. I don't want to wash my hair more than once a week. No way. When it comes to movies, the one that I don't like is that when there's a woman who's running away, they always have her tripping over her feet. I mean, there is this assumption that women cannot run. It doesn't matter if there's not a log there. She manages to trip over something. I can't stand it. That's mine.
Oh, well, I must say, during the filming of Fisk, there were a few scenes where I had to run, and it wasn't until the edit when everyone started laughing and they said, "Oh, that's really funny what you're doing," and I went, "Oh, that's good," but I wasn't actually trying to be funny. But apparently, I can't run, and I didn't know that. I thought I was quite athletic and quite sporty, and I run like a mum who's late for tuck shop. It's just. It was really embarrassing. And I don't mind because it turned out to be funny, but it's just always better to be funny when you know you're being funny.
True.
So here's another thing about movie makers, and it really pisses me off, is when the woman stands against the wall crying and then collapses to the floor up against the wall.
Oh,
like
yeah,
when I'm
sliding
sobbing,
down the wall.
sliding down the
Yeah.
wall. Take to your bed like a normal person. That's where sobbing happens.
I remember Toni Collette in About a Boy did the most fantastic crying on the couch. Do you remember that one? And
Yes.
she had snot coming out. It was the best bit of real crying I'd ever seen. I just went, oh, she's method, that woman. She's really given it something. Whereas, if she'd been directed by a man to do crying, they would have done exactly that. Can you just dab with a tissue, hold it in, do a bit of waving your eyes? I can't speak. And so she was just,
It's
letting
true.
it all out. It's great.
Yes. But what about the fact, Ange, that Kitty is giving parenting advice
Yes.
without being an actual parent?
I think it's a masterstroke. I think we need more people who are truly independent when it comes to this subject. I'm up for it. So I'll be calling you next time I have something to sort out.
Yeah, I feel like I'm objective and I can really help.
Yes.
Like I had friends who were faffing around trying to give their toddler she had to take her medicine and they had it in the little tube trying to inject it. It was like, give it to me. I can pill a cat like nobody. I can take my cat hole and shove a pill down there. I can do your kid no problem. Like that kid doesn't even have teeth yet that they're going to get. Like, give me that kid. I can pill it for you.
I need to tell you,
and
though,
also,
Kitty,
I don't have children, so I haven't mucked it up. So all my advice hasn't been proven wrong because I've not mucked up parenting.
It's pure advice.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, also, the other thing is my daughter, when she saw me reading this the other day, she's 12, Kitty, and she said, "Oh, can I read that after you?" And I was like, fantastic. I now absolve myself from all parenting responsibilities because this is going to get her to adulthood now, Kitty.
Well,
you
be careful with that, Jo.
You're parenting my daughter now through that book.
You be careful because I've had a lot of people say their kid read the book and now the kid follows them around holding them, calling them out on the rules, going, "You're not allowed to do that. That's the rule. You're not allowed to do that. That's the rule." Oh. So just beware that she'll become the rule maker.
Oh my God,
and the
bossy
rule
children are the most tedious things around. I can't stand bossy children.
Well, that's another thing in
Kitty.
movies. Like, when do you ever see movies where kids talk like real kids instead of with these smart, witty rejoinders? It's like the kids don't talk like that.
Actually, Francis, Ange's son, does talk like that. He does actually talk like that.
When I've got him in
I bet
lockdown,
he doesn't. There's
24/7.
way too much smart assery. Yeah, there's way too much smart assery from kids on television that I just don't think they'd get away with. They certainly wouldn't have got away with it. From my mum would have said, "Nah, you don't talk like."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oop, is Kitty
Kitty
there, frozen, or is that me?
No, I think Kitty has frozen. Oh,
it's the Botox.
No, what's happened? Oh, what a shame. I was going to ask Kitty about her touring because she is actually touring, but we've lost her. I think that's going to be the end of it.
Oh, and I
with
wanted
Kitty
to.
today.
I had a bone to pick with her too.
Oh, what about?
About dark chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
One of her rules: dark chocolate is not a treat.
Yeah.
I couldn't disagree any more with that statement. I mean,
I
dark
absolutely.
chocolate is the top of the tree when it comes to the chocolate family.
Well, now that Kitty has left, you and I can agree that dark chocolate is top of the tree as well, and we'll speak ill behind her back and that she's in fact wrong about that particular one. Well, unfortunately, we've had to say goodbye to Kitty, but let me just mention that she is touring Queensland in July and Melbourne in November, so make sure you head along to kitty.com what's her website? Anyway, it's on the screen. Today is a basket case. But anyway, do make sure you head along and check out Kitty, because she's one of the greatest comedians you can see live as well. We're going to have more Broad Radio after this.
I'm in a new strategy.
Well, at Broad Radio, we are very grateful to the commercial partners that have come on board to get us to where we are today and to keep us growing. And that includes Saba Organics. Now, at Broad Radio, we believe in caring for each other and for ourselves and the planet, which is why we're really pleased to partner with Saba Organics, because they are one of the world's only 100% certified organic range of skin and body care. Now, obviously, whether it's hand wash or hand sanitizer or cleaning products for our home, we don't want to be covering our skin in toxins or chemicals. But what I really didn't know before I began working with Saba Organics is that actually using the term natural ingredients doesn't necessarily mean they're organic. That can mean that the ingredients have been exposed to toxic herbicides and pesticides in farming, which is obviously damaging to the earth and our body. But Saba Organics is 100% certified organic, which means no aluminium, no sulfate or parabens, and no toxic chemicals, and that is guaranteed. I love the Saba Organics lemon tea tree and kundia hand wash, but you can check out their whole range at sabaorganics.com.
Australians know that sun exposure can cause skin cancer, but dermatologists also know that it can cause wrinkles, pigmentation and age spots. That's why you need sunscreen every day. Ask your Chemist Warehouse pharmacist which sunscreen is right for your skin.
Broad Radio. Talking inspo we love, info we need, and sharing more of us. Watch and listen live every Tuesday 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time at broadradio.com.au, or find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and LinkedIn at Broad Radio Oz. Talk to us live. Call on 1300 8 Broad. Catch up on demand anytime, anywhere, every time, everywhere. On the train, we'll be here. 2 a.m. existential crisis, we've got you covered. Broad Radio. Here for more.
Now, Ange, we've already established that I'm a terrible cook. Not much of a foodie. But what I will say is I love watching very talented people produce incredible dishes on screen and drooling over them. I mean, it's a bit of a fantasy, I think, watching something like Masterchef. So it's a great joy to welcome to the show Masterchef Judge Andy Allen. Hi there, Andy.
G'day, ladies. How you going?
Oh, it's really great to speak with the person who's in the space while those poor people are literally, we see them sweating. Sometimes I'm like, are they going to sweat into the food? What kind of pressure actually is in that environment?
It's huge. I think, and especially as you get deeper and deeper and deeper into the competition, you just want to do the best that you can. Sometimes you can just see the wheels starting to get a little bit shaky, and all of their, guys have got so much riding on this. So I think it's that's when you really start to see the pressure at the forefront. And I think Masterchef's really not about who the best cook is, but it's just who can deal with that pressure on a daily basis the best. I suppose maybe that's why back in 2012 I was successful, because I don't think I was the best cook, but I could just deal with the pressure.
Well, that's right. You were a contestant first and now you're a judge. Do you get some sort of perverse pleasure, though, out of watching people struggle like that with the clock ticking down and all the stress that goes with it? Are you a sadist?
No, for me, I really love to be a helping hand in that situation, because I do know how hard it is. I think one of the beauties of being an ex-contestant is that you can really see these guys go through exactly what you were going through back in the day when I was on the competition. So that's really been a bit of an unknown for me on how powerful that is, because you literally you can pick up on things straight away and try and be that person that can dig them out of whatever hole that they're in. And I love that part. I really love to be a helping hand. Our job isn't to stand there and criticise and just say this is good, this is bad, this is ugly. It's really to get these guys to a place where they cook the best food possible, because that's what it's all about, and that's what you guys want to see. You don't want to see the failures. Masterchef, it's such a positive show. You want to see the successes.
I think there is a little bit of schadenfreude perhaps around seeing a little failure every now and then. But I'm going to paint a picture for you, Andy, because what I find fascinating is that these incredible cooks and incredible judges who are all very, established chefs, creating beautiful foods, whilst the people at home watching, generally speaking, are families and parents in the kitchen who are just going, oh my God, do I have to cook dinner again? Because in a normal household, mealtime is a punish. And I find trying to work out what to cook every night just destroying at times. Have you got for us at home who are watching the fantasy that is MasterChef, just some hacks, some things that might help us get through the daily gruel of it?
I think planning is a big thing. It's like anything. It's even in like the restaurants. If you don't plan, it's going to be so much harder than what it actually is. So making sure that you've got time to shop, how many times do you go and look in the fridge? And the reason that you probably cook a pretty shitty meal is because you started with pretty shitty stuff. So you want to be able to look in that fridge, and if there's an abundance of amazing stuff to get your hands on, then already dinner is easier. And knowing what you're going to do with those ingredients. I mean, knowing that you might be cooking, let's say, a bolognese for Sunday night because, everyone loves to get a bit of comfort food on a Sunday night. Knowing what to do with that leftover bolognese through the week so you can have it for lunches, or you've got your bolognese sauce that you could put, I don't know, in tacos or something like that later on in the week, so that you two birds, one stone type thing. You've cooked one meal, but then you've got the base of that meal that you can reuse for lunch or dinner throughout the week.
I'm slightly different to Joe in that I enjoy cooking, but we are in our fourth lockdown here in Melbourne. So I guess that there are challenges around, that we're doing more cooking at home than we have before, and perhaps a little short on inspiration. We're stuck at home with the same people day after day. Have you got some tips with comfort food? You mentioned comfort food. It's also, I look outside, it's -10 in Melbourne. What about some dishes just to help us get through the next few weeks of Melbourne winter?
I think you guys are in a lovely position to be able to cook comfort food, because comfort food takes time. And comfort food for me is, pastas and gnocchi and lasagna and all of that stuff that, you probably can't have 3 or 4 times a week. But it really does take time, and trying to, I suppose, go the next level on your comfort food in that, making some fresh pasta, because it's not hard. Making some fresh gnocchi also, because it's not hard. And that is like, an afternoon process that also you can involve the kids in, because, flour and dough, kids are all over. And you can really make it a family experience, so that when you do sit down, it's much more of a like, I cooked that all from scratch. We made that pasta together, we made that gnocchi together, we made that sauce together from amazing ingredients, and then you sit down as a family, and it just feels so much more special. That's what I love about having a Sunday afternoon off. You can really do things that, and maybe you guys are the same day in and day out, because unfortunately you're in lockdown. You have a lot of time to be able to go, you know what, instead of buying a packet pasta or a packet gnocchi or a packet lasagna sheet, I'm going to do it myself. And for me, that's what cooking is about. Trying to do it once so that you've done it, and then the next time it's going to be better and better and better. And you increase your skills. So I'd say trying to do things from scratch. I'd say give yourself enough time, and books as well. Books is a massive thing. I think there's so many good chefs out there that do have cookbooks, and find a chef that you like and go and buy his book or buy his or her books, because you might find one recipe online, but there's a whole raft of recipes in a cookbook, and I think that they're still got space for the kitchen table instead of just going straight to the internet.
I reckon what you've highlighted there, Andy, is that cooking needs not to be, because my issue is that it's like, I just want it done and out of the way. But you need to really embrace it as a process of nourishing your family and yourself. And the process itself is just as important as what you're putting in your body, yeah?
Definitely. And I think, you look at making gnocchi from scratch. Let's go with the gnocchi card. Like, you find some epic potatoes, and you go and do some research on what potato is best for the gnocchi, and you find out where that potato came from. And then you get in the kitchen and you make that thing from scratch. And A, it's going to taste better. B, it's going to be better for you. And C, when it hits the table, as I said, everyone is going to be like, wow, that's what I'm talking about. That gets me excited. And it makes that, 3-hour process well worth it. And yeah, there might be a couple of hiccups along the way, and it might not be as best as you turned out, but you made it from scratch, knew where everything came from, and you're sitting down with a family from something that you made literally with your bare hands.
I love that you've used the word epic potatoes. I don't know where to find epic potatoes.
I'll send you some epic potatoes.
And so, Andy, that leads me to ask the question, you're passionate about organic and sustainable foods. Tell us about how we can take that into the foods that we buy. How can we sort of inform ourselves around organic and sustainable ingredients?
I think the first thing is just knowing where your food comes from. That's massive for me. I think in the restaurants, we try as much to support small local producers, but then obviously sometimes that can't happen. I remember when we opened our Byron restaurant and we decided to put a 50k radius on where we get produce from. And you might think, well, that's quite easy. It's an amazing place up there and there's a lot of amazing produce. But we started to, let's say, the avocado toast. We made an avocado toast dish, and then all of a sudden, because we were so busy, we'd clean this guy out of avocados. So that was great because we were supporting a local business. But then on the other hand, he had no produce left. So we realised how hard that actually was for that restaurant. So we just started to increase it out a touch. But I think knowing where that food comes from is so important, and just doing your bit. And I think, again, you'll feel so much better when you're either supporting a local producer or you've found a piece of produce that is amazing from Australia, because I think that is so important. And it's something that we really have drawn a line in the sand in our restaurant group, Free Blue Ducks, and say that we're not going to get any overseas products at all on our menu, because we believe that's how it should be. There's rosemary there. It looks beautiful. And then also with the organic side of things, and I'm not going to say that, everything has to be organic, because I think that is just unrealistic. But buying organic where you can is massive. Knowing that it actually is organic is a huge thing as well. Looking for that Australian Organic Certified logo is massively important. Because really, for me, organic food, there's a couple of things. It tastes better. When you're an organic farmer, your job is to look after your soil, because that's what makes food tastier and grow better and grow more successfully. So when you introduce things like chemicals and herbicides and pesticides, that's speeding that growth process up. And what that is doing is extracting the nutrients from the soil, and that is really going to be harmful, not only to your produce, not only to you, but for the land as well. And I think that's something that we should all be really trying to do is preserve our land, because it is so important, and it's what all of our food comes from, and we need to look after it.
And Andy, I've gone on a similar kind of journey, understanding what organic means and how important it is as far as our soil and our earth is concerned, because you and I share a relationship with Saba Organics, which is one of the world's only 100% certified organic skin and body range. And I've really learned how important it is and the difference between certified organic products and, something that's known as natural ingredients.
Yeah, I think down the bottom of those little bottles that's the little certified organic logo that you're looking for. It's really important because, like you say, Joe, there are so many organic companies out there, but certified organic is the thing that you're looking for, because that means you are 100% certified organic, and it's really important. And I didn't really know much about, the whole skin care organic side of things before I was introduced to Saba and created a great relationship with Cosmo and the guys there. Because for me, it was all about food, it was hand in hand. I was dealing with it every single day, and I understood that. But then when the guys came to me, and I think that the most simple thing that I learned from those guys is that your body is a sponge. Like whatever you put on it, whatever you put it, around it, whether it be spray or lotion or body wash, it is going to suck that up. Even if you're in the shower and you're washing it off, there is a time when your skin is exposed to what you're putting on it, and it is a sponge. So why would you go and put harmful things on your body? And you may not think that, I'm in the shower, I'm washing it off, but I'm in there it's on me for a minute or 2 minutes. But think about that over the time of your lifetime. We have probably 1 to 2 showers a day at least, for any human. There's that adds up over such a long time, and that's only one product. You can think how many times you wash your hands. You can think about how many times you put roll-on or spray on deodorant on. But all these things add up over time, and it really got me thinking about what I'm actually putting on my body and why I should be using organic products, certified organic products, because it's going to add up over a long, long time, and I want my body to be as fit and healthy as it can be for the duration of my life.
Well, before you go, can I just rattle off a couple of very quick questions? There are things that I want to know, and they are back to food, of course. Yeah. What's your favourite dish?
Oh, that's like asking, what's your favourite child? It really does change, especially it really does change, especially with seasons, with what's going on. I mean, with winter, you want something that's a little bit heavier. I've just gone through a massive menu change throughout 3 of our restaurants, and so I look at that. We've probably changed, I reckon, 30 dishes throughout the 3 restaurants. And there's a dish that we put up in Brisbane, which is it's a fish dish, John Dory, lovely in winter, and it's a combination of corn, cabbage, and miso. So it's a crispy skinned John Dory fillet with some a corn puree, some charred cabbage, some charred corn, some pickled wakame, and then a miso butter over the top. And that, for me, I ate it the other day. I was like, that's it.
Would that be your last? If you had to choose your last meal ever, would that be that?
No, definitely not. I'm like, for me, I think my last meal, and this is going to sound really lame and silly, but for me, my last meal isn't about what I would eat. It's about who I would eat it with, because hopefully you have that chance. So it's about having, your closest, dearest friends and family there. And I'm simple. I'm an anchovy fiend, and love me or hate me, but I love anchovies. And yeah, there you go. I got one yes, and I got
yes.
Scrub from Joe. So honestly, a pack of the best anchovies in the world with some charred sourdough and a glass of wine, and I'm done.
Okay, well, that's good to know for when, you might be on death row. That's what you would order.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Andy Allen, it's been lovely to chat with you, and we've got away without you and I as Collingwood supporters making it too hard for Ange as an Adelaide Crows supporter. So
the ears are blocked after the week.
We're talking about food.
Yeah.
Make sure that you check out MasterChef. It's on Sundays to Thursdays on Channel 10. You're heading into Celebrity MasterChef as well, so that's going to be super interesting. Ange and I both have decided there's no chance we would do that.
Oh, maybe next season. You've got time to scrub up on that field.
Do I?
Get that gnocchi dish down pat.
Alrighty, thanks so much, Andy. We'll catch up another time. You have a great day.
Lovely to chat to you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye, Andy.
We'll have more Broad Radio after this. And what a fun show we've had.
It's been good. Had a couple of hiccups, but they just add to the enjoyment and the drama of it all. Fabulous.
Whatever. These things happen. I do take issue with what Andy just said, that making fresh pasta is not hard. Not hard, he said. I've never done it because it looks hard to me. Have you done it?
No, there's plenty of good homemade pasta on the market as well. So look, I don't. I'm feeling shamed into it though.
I don't. But
I've got an idea for tonight. I'm going to have gnocchi tonight. He said gnocchi about 4 times in that interview, and it's now I can't get rid of it, and so
you're actually
gnocchi
gonna
it
make,
is tonight.
You're going to make your own gnocchi?
No. Hop to the shops.
No, that would be madness. Well, Ro, our producer here, you did once make pasta yourself.
I did. It was the biggest disaster. I bought the pasta maker. I spent the whole day making it and drying it, and it destroyed the whole thing. Destroyed my kitchen, wrecked the cook, and put it on eBay the next day.
What's the point?
What's the point? You're right. Let's support some local farmers, local produce makers, and local delis, and use their homemade pasta. Before we go, Ange, I just want to share some of the comments that we've had on the show, on our social media during the show this morning. Thank you so much to Dr. Lillian Nihad, who she's with us every week. We love Lillian. She actually agrees with Kitty about the chocolate.
No.
Yeah.
What about the antioxidants? I mean, I don't know what they are, but dark chocolate is full of antioxidants, and that sounds really healthy and important.
Yeah,
all my favourite foods have antioxidants: blueberries, spinach, red wine.
And dark chocolate.
All good.
You're right. I have no idea what antioxidants are. It's got something to do with free radicals. Again, no idea what a free radical is.
We should get someone on the show.
I think you and I are free radicals, aren't we? So thank you to Lillian for that comment, even though we disagree with you. But we do agree with you that she loves Kitty. And thank you also to Nicole, who mentions the fact that housing affordability and availability needs to be a Commonwealth issue because there needs to be more housing stock available.
Oh, it's housing affordability. We need more social housing. And the fact that we live in a first world country and we have this bigger problem with homelessness is shameful. It really is.
It's a disgrace because it's the same kinds of people who are struggling. It's people who've not found themselves with high-paying jobs, essentially. So, that's
all power to Donna. Her and her organisations are doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, and we thank Jodie for saying that she didn't know that the National Homeless Collective existed. So pleased that she's learned about the Period Project monthly donation coming up. I really love that idea. So again, we encourage you to head along and if you can, donate. And it's been gorgeous to see you again. We'll catch you on Broad Radio another time.
And hopefully soon we get to see each other in the flesh as well.
No, we can have some antioxidants together.
Yes, crush a few grapes, get into it.
We'll have Broad Radio next week at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Other than that, have a great week and I'll see you soon, Ange.
Bye.
There's pretty lights. Another runaway city boy getting to